Welcome to part 3 of how to remove something from an image inside of Photoshop. Today we're going to cover probably the 2 most used tools inside of Photoshop when it comes to removing something from an image. One will probably be pretty easy and straightforward. The other one may be a little bit more complicated and probably the most frustrating to most Photoshop users that I come across. These 2 tools are going to be the healing tool, not to be confused with the spot healing tool. We will talk about the differences there, and also the clone stamp tool, which is probably the one that drives people the most crazy. Both of these are extremely effective when used properly and can help you take out just about anything in a picture when used properly. There's just a few little things you should probably know when using it, maybe a couple tricks that we'll cover in this tutorial, but all in all, when used properly, these things are highly effective. So let's tackle the healing tool first, maybe talk about what the differences between the spot healing tool and the regular healing tool are, and then we'll move on to the clone stamp tool. So first of all, both the healing and spot healing tool can be found over here in your tools panel. They both look like a band-aid. The only difference between the two is that one has this dotted line around it and the other one does not. You'll also see that the definitions spot healing brush and then healing brush. So what is the difference? In the spot healing brush, we can go to the photograph and we can click on anything we want to remove, and Photoshop will try and blend to what it thinks is best. And the key word in there is what it thinks is best. So imagine if I said that I wanted to fix this spot, then what Photoshop is going to do is it's going to look for an area of the picture that matches this spot. Maybe that would be over here. And then it's going to take this and it's going to put it over here. That's just kind of how it works. So basically, Photoshop is making a decision as to what it thinks is going to match pixels properly. The downside with this is anytime you let Photoshop do anything, it doesn't always get it right. So the healing brush is going to blend just like the spot healing brush will, but the difference is that we get to decide what we want to blend it with. And then Photoshop will go ahead and do the blending. So let's show you what I mean by that. Anytime that you want to pick up pixels, and that's basically what we're doing. We're saying, I want to take from this area. You're just going to hold your Option key down and click on the pixels that you want to grab, and then you let go of everything. So Option, click, and then let go. If you're a PC user, instead of Option, just hit Alt, click, and then let go. So I'm going to go to a part of the picture where I think is best. I'm going to Alt, click, and then I'm going to go over to the spot that I want to remove. It happens to be this little sensor spot here, and I'm going to click, and boom, just like that, it takes it away because now it's blending the pixels. A little characteristic to note though is when we choose Option, click, and then go over to the picture and start to paint, you see I'm holding my cursor down on my mouse. There is a little plus button that's following my brush tool, and anywhere I go, it goes. And once I let go, Photoshop will work its magic. Let's take that same analogy down over here where we've got this fence post. Maybe I want to grab some of the grass, so I will Option, click, and then go over to the brush and begin to paint. And as you can see here, it will paint and then it'll try and blend it together. But the problem here, as you can see, if I undo that, is when I Option click, the plus button is right behind my brush tool. And as that plus button starts to touch whatever it is I'm brushing, it's actually cloning in what's on the brush. In other words, that plus button is trailing my brush way too close. So I'd much be better off picking some pixels that were in a farther distance, say over here, Option, click. And now when I brush, you see how far away that plus button is. It's trailing me way over there. So the likelihood of that plus button picking up on pixels that it's not supposed to be are a lot less likely. So once I let go, it's going to go ahead and try and blend. Now in this case, you can see it's not actually doing a good job, but I just wanted you to get the point as to which is the difference between the healing brush and the spot healing brush. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer and create another duplicate to start over. And this time we're going to move to the clone stamp tool. Now the clone stamp tool works in the same way as the spot healing tool. The difference between the two here is that the spot healing tool, or even the healing tool for that matter, as I mentioned, will automatically try to do some blending. The clone stamp tool, however, is just going to pick up pixels and then place them. No blending is going to happen. In other words, if I go up here and I choose this tall wheatgrass and I Option click on it, and then I come over here to the fence post and start to brush that in, you'll notice that all it's doing is brushing brushing in that wheatgrass. Once I let go, it stays there permanently. It doesn't blend anything. It doesn't try and match pixels and give me the best results. I'm getting whatever I'm putting down. You get it? So what I want to do here is I want to delete this layer and duplicate it to start all over so that you're not so confused. And again, I'm on the clone stamp tool, and all I'm going to do is option click on the part of the grass that I want to clone in, and I'm going to begin to brush. And as I brush, you can see that that starts to disappear. Notice again that the plus button is trailing me to my left. The farther away I go, the farther away that plus button is. And that's the key, because if I wanted to clone the grass from here, I'm awfully close to that bob wire. And chances are, as I go over here and I start to brush, there it goes. You can see I'm bringing in the bob wire, and that's because that plus button, if you notice, is on the bob wire fence right now, and so that's what it's cloning in. As long as you remember that, the cloning is actually pretty easy. So just pick up pixels that are farther enough away but still match. Keep that plus button away from wherever it is it's starting to clone that you don't like. If I start to see it bring in things that I don't like, I just stop what I was doing, go back and option click on a new part of the area of the picture that's going to make sense, and I just keep rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and before you know it, I could have this whole fence post gone like the wind. You can see it's starting to bring in things I don't want, so I just need to get farther away. And as long as I do that, the cloning is magical. So between video 1, video 2, and video 3, you should be able to get rid of just about anything inside your photograph, no problem.